Well, welcome back to the Valley Hoops Insider podcast, part of the Valley Hoops Insider website. I'm Harry Schroeder. Glad to be with you today. We got a special, unique opportunity today. Part of our website, of course, we call Voices of the Valley, where we talk to broadcasters, writers, producers, all those kinds of things that bring the Valley message to you. And so today we wanted to talk about what's going on the television side. Gray Media and Tupelo Honey have combined and partnered with the Missouri Valley Conference, as you folks know, to bring linear games to us, over-the-air basketball games, so that you don't have to be paying a ton of money to see all of the Valley games. And so we're super pleased today to have John Servizzi with us. We bring him in, and he is the major leader of Gray Media and Tupelo Honey and producing all of those games, leading the charge. And then also Braden Pretzsch, who is the producer, the director, the associate director, I think maybe is his title, and making all the things actually get to your house. First, I just want to say, guys, as a fan, I'm just grateful. Thank you for bringing free basketball into my living room.
Well, absolutely. And I really appreciate the upgrade, because I think I got a huge promotion within the Gray organization. Small part, very successful small part of a very big machine. And it's a pleasure to be with you, Harry.
John, we talked a year ago when Gray Media and Tupelo Honey did that partnership multi-year deal with the Missouri Valley Conference. And you guys have 113 or 130, something like that, TV stations across the country. A lot of them Missouri Valley markets. Why did that make sense to you guys to bring over-the-air basketball into those markets and on your TV stations?
Well, over-the-air television is still the absolute best way to deliver a broad audience. The numbers over the air are still meaningful. The stations are incredibly impactful in their local communities, in much the same way that the institutions are trying to be impactful within their markets. And when you look at the Missouri Valley, you go across the valley, the market alignment, there were very few places where we didn't have Gray stations. And in the places where we don't have stations, we have tremendous partners with other broadcast entities that were willing to put some great basketball on the air. So for us, just an incredibly successful partnership, and something that we're really, really happy to see hit the screen last year, and excited to see the improvements that will surely come this year.
And I'm here in St. Louis, and in St. Louis, it's the channel for the CBS affiliate that's related to you guys. And then they have a second channel that they put the games on, and their marketing, their programming has greatly expanded over the last years. So you guys kind of launched them, and now they have other programming coming on as well.
Yeah, I think KMOV is Matrix Midwest is the broadcast sports network that serves those markets. Gray has kind of taken a regional approach with statewide sports networks, Rock Sports and Entertainment in Ohio, the Matrix Midwest, Peachtree, the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment, which has the New Orleans Pelicans as a flagship. We've got a bunch of great broadcast sports networks, and really what you're seeing is that return to over the air. You're seeing professional franchises, you're seeing mid-major and high major conferences put as much content as they can back into the over-the-air market. And that's really, again, mutually beneficial. The broadcast industry has changed so much, but the one thing that is always important and always will be important is the connection between the local community and our stations.
Braden, you're sitting there in Indianapolis, and on in Terre Haute, Indiana, and they're shooting a bunch of information to you, and you're coordinating all that. Do you have like multiple, I don't know, electrodes in that brain to make it all happen? You have an impossible job.
Harry, it's a lot of fun, kind of being in the truck and having all that stuff come to you. It's a balance, you got videos and audio and all this stuff coming at you. And my job, I always like to tell everybody, if you think of a broadcast as a car, I'm sitting in the passenger's front seat and I've got the map and I'm telling everybody where we're going. So my job's to kind of take all that, process it as quick as I can, and put it out there. But yeah, it's been incredible. I jumped on at Tupelo in 2020, right before the pandemic started. And before then, I guess, to give everybody a little bias check in the background, I do hold degrees from 2 Valley institutions. So I have 2 bachelor's degrees from the University of Evansville. And I have a master's degree from Southern Illinois. So very well versed in the Valley. But when I came on to Tupelo in 2020, the pandemic changed everything. And John, our leadership, everybody was like, well, how do we push this thing forward? Well, it was time for the remote model. And so that meant, less people on site. And there are certainly times where it'd be nice to be on site where I could just step out of the truck and do something. But at the same time, I also tell everyone, when the ball tips off in the air, I'm staring at screens in a box, whether I'm 5 minutes away or 500 miles away. It's the same thing for me. So, and we've really done a good job of reducing what a lot of people would be concerned with, like delay and things like that. And now the remote model is kind of second hat for us. And honestly, it provides a lot of advantage because we have a lot of great resources in our studio that we get to have access to for every show because we are remote here in Indianapolis. And yeah, it's crazy. Sometimes I have to really check myself, like, wow, I can't believe I'm broadcasting a game in Cedar Falls and I'm sitting in Indianapolis. But we've turned it into a pretty seamless operation and something that I think really turns out a great product every single time we step into it.
You do miss the local food.
Yeah, I do miss the local food. I do miss all the local Valley dive spots and hop in there. So you're not wrong on that, John.
There's not a ton of Casey's here in Indianapolis. We're working on it.
I miss snagging a slice of breakfast pizza on the way to the stadium for like a noon tip-off or something like that. Right. I miss that.
That's funny. John, last year, the game, it was like a game of the week. And sometimes you had a doubleheader. It was Wednesday night. This year, the games are virtually any night of the week. Talk about that change, or maybe what went into that change.
Windows are getting harder and harder to come by. Certainly the Valley, the schedule, Jeff Jackson, we interviewed him for the preseason special that'll start airing here in a couple of weeks. Jeff made great reference to the fact that the schedule was just harder this year. It was really difficult to schedule 11. And so we had to accept some things. Obviously, the schedule that we get, we're downstream of the primary rights holder. So ESPN and CBS are going to make their selections prior to us getting games for the NBC TV network. But we're really happy with the schedule. We're really happy with the numbers that we saw on weeknight games. We're blown away by the numbers we saw in St. Louis, specifically on Matrix for Arch Madness. And so that's something that I think is really, really good. We're really happy with the schedule. We'll see. We get to go to. I don't believe we got to go to UIC last year, so we'll get to do a game from Chicago this year, right up the road, but still Remy. And I really couldn't be happier with the partnership. We've got a couple of really great women's basketball games as well again this year, and that's a growth area not only for the Valley but for college athletics in general. So I'd love to see more of those, frankly.
Braden, you talked about being going to school at Evansville and at SIU. Talk about your journey to this spot. You said you joined there in 2020, but talk about your journey to get to where you're at today.
I blinked and I'm here, Harry. I started at Evansville as a freshman in 2009. Graduated there in 2013, went straight to Carbondale, and that's where I really got into this industry. We were doing some webcasting at Evansville, but Southern just had a little bit more infrastructure than what we had. So I hopped on as a GA in video services there, worked there for a year and a half, and then I went to Boston because I was engaged, and I love my now wife, who we've been married for over a decade now. And so took a little step aside. And then Tom Benson, who was at Evansville, my boss, I think you both know Tom. Tom's the man. Shout out Tom Benson. He called me when Evansville was really getting to the Valley on ESPN stuff and was like, hey, I need you here. Let's do this thing. And I was like, Yep, let's roll. So came back, went there for 3.5 years. Tom got sick of me. He called John, lied to him about how great I am, and then John took the bait, and now I've been at Tupelo for 5. So
Tom Benson is the kingmaker. That is the moniker I've bestowed upon him. Yes, and I will tell you that is true, except for the being fooled part. But Tom Benson did say very early on, "Hey, this Braden kid is the real deal." And more importantly, I'd say this whether we're on a podcast or just in person, the biggest thing for us, look, TV is not brain surgery. The biggest thing is you got to have people around you that you enjoy spending 12 hours a day with, and multiple days in a row, and can tolerate and have genuine fun with. And that's the thing that you're looking for. All of the skills are teachable. Braden is incredibly skilled at what he does. But the most important thing is he's a guy you want to go have a beverage with after the show's over. And that's bigger than putting a good product on the air for me.
And I'll tell you too, Harry, like a lot of us, both at Tupelo as full-timers and quite a few of our freelancers, we all have Valley ties. We have people that went Evansville, Indiana State, Illinois State, Southern, Murray. Like we have ties to so many Valley schools. So it's something that a lot of us are passionate about because, I mean, we all know the passion that Valley fans carry. We love Valley basketball. So it's easy for us to hop in. Now, trust me, when Indiana State lost to Evansville last year and my tape op who went to Indiana State was in the room with me, I let him hear it on the headset after we won. Don't get me wrong. But we love Valley basketball. It's a great product. It's so many passionate fans and fan bases and great schools. And I think that's why people tune in. I think that's why we're getting such great numbers in markets, even not just the home markets for games, but markets all over the Valley footprint, because people love watching the game. People love tuning in and seeing what the league's doing every single night.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it is a passionate fan base. And I'm struck by this idea that both of you have kind of student-run broadcasts in your background. Both of you were involved in that kind of work early on. John, you at Butler and with all that was going on there in the Horizon Network that you kind of got started. And you mentioned it, Braden. And so much like what they're doing with the ESPN is the same thing. Students are doing it there. And so it's all kind of coming full circle. And it's a pretty fun environment and time right now in this broadcasting space.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, obviously, the cost of doing something at a high level and kind of that prior level to the student-run broadcast is prohibitive. And you don't have, frankly, an ESPN Plus type of outlet. You don't have the tonnage that's there if you're paying full professional rates and you're doing things with 53-foot broadcast trucks on site. So yeah, we saw it coming for sure. I mean, at the start at Butler, for me, it was necessity. I was teaching sports production and teaching video production, and we lost our TV channel. So there was this new thing called the internet, and boy, talk about being at the right place at the right time. There it was. But the reality is, kind of like remote production post-COVID, we were heading in that direction. So it kind of becomes a chicken and an egg for me. And I think the coolest thing about the student-led productions and the amount that's being done is actually now, if you look at the higher levels, if you look at the SEC and the ACC and the Big 12, you see the shows that they are putting on from their campus on linear networks, and they've kind of assumed an aspirational place for a lot of us in the industry, just seeing how great that can be. So I think it's wonderful where we've landed. I'm really, truly proud. The Horizon League, certainly, that was an effort in 2006 to launch Horizon League Network. But Doug Elgin and Jack Watkins and Mike Kern were not far behind in that effort, and were talking to us very early on as well. And I'm really proud of what the schools across the Valley are doing. They give us great content. It's really nice to be able to produce a game and know that you've got good highlights and you've got good balance. coverage that you can lean on from the schools. And they've taken an increased role in championship coverage, as well as in the digital portion of the MVC package. And they're just doing a great job.
John, you in different communities and across your footprint. There's constant talk about will the Valley expand? Will other conferences expand? Those kinds of things. Is a place like Omaha or Milwaukee? Let me say, people in my neck of the woods are all saying, "Well, where should they expand?" Well, I guess they should go get a big market, right? They should go to Milwaukee. They should go to Omaha. And because of television and because of those kinds of ratings things, so I'm not asking you to predict what the Valley's going to do, but in those areas, you are obviously seeing that, wow, there's a groundswell of following and response to those ratings, and those ratings could actually be significant.
I think I have zero. I know. Let me start that over. I know I have zero influence in what the Valley will do next.
Sure, of course.
I trust people way smarter than me to make the right decision for the Valley, and the Valley's been around a lot longer than anybody else, so I trust they're doing the right things. I will say this though: I think there's such advantage to being the show in your respective market. I think some of the smaller markets where you can kind of be the thing that the entire market is talking about the day after a game. I think that's really important. And I think that technology has changed broadcasting so much that you're not hidden in Carbondale or in Murray. People in and outside of that market have the same access to these games. And so, I think that really does level the playing field quite a bit. And there is such a great, if you look at the core of college athletics and what college athletics has always been, it's so great when you have that community. Don't get me wrong, it's a blast to go to a Big Ten football game and see that atmosphere. It's a blast to go up the road to Purdue and see what they do at Mackey Arena and see what these huge conferences and huge markets can do. But man, there's something really fun about the way that small markets embrace these teams, and on our side, from a broadcast standpoint, the importance of a true media presence in small markets. And so I just think it's great. I think the Valley's really well positioned, frankly, as far as mid-major conferences go.
Is there any way for you to quantify ratings? You said the numbers. Is there any way for you to tell us what that sounds like or looks like?
Honestly, Harry, nobody knows what the hell this stuff means. I mean, it's
pop that balloon just right there. Pop that balloon.
I think if it's like a 4-hour podcast, you might be able to explain it to me, and I might be there by the end of it. I will tell you this: when you're on a regional sports network on cable, frequently those networks don't measure and don't score a national rating. So what you wind up with are, in your Excel document, you wind up with hash marks, right? And that doesn't mean 0 people are watching. It means 0 people are measured. And so what's meaningful? I can tell you that the numbers are, the Gray is happy with the numbers. Our markets are happy with the product. Our markets are excited to put the product back on the air. But I don't think, saying a number of households in a specific market is really meaningful. It's impactful in the places that it's airing, and we're really happy with it. So on we go.
Braden, you were on site though for the Missouri Valley tournament, correct?
Yes,
and
sir.
So,
yes, sir.
So I begged him. I said, "Can I wander into the booth?" And so there I am in your booth, and of course we had great conversations. Not what I mean is he was like doing 8 million things all at once. But is it more fun than to get on site then? And when you're doing that, is it more fun? And then number 2, what kind of staff do you bring when you bring the truck and you bring everybody there to St. Louis?
It's absolutely more fun in a case like that, just because Arch Madness is one of the best events in the country. period. End of story. If you've not gone to Arch Madness, you need to go one time because it is the best mid-major tournament in the country. So it's great to be there. The Valley puts on a great event. I'm glad we mentioned Missouri Sports Hall of Famer Jack R. Watkins Jr. I thought we'd gone a little too long without mentioning him in this. But yeah, the Valley puts on such a great event, and it's fun to be there and be a part of it and just feel the energy. You just get to be that a little bit more, and trust me, you feel that as a production crew in the truck. You just feel the energy and the excitement. I mean, last year we had the great run by Valpo, and gosh, that was fun. Like, even though we were just there for the first 2 days to watch them just kind of just take off, play some great basketball, it was fun to see that and be a part of it. So and then for an on-site crew like that, we beefed up. I mean, I don't know if you remember exact numbers off the top of your head, John, but we were close to probably 30-ish people, all things said and done. When you get to everyone in the truck, our camera operators, our talent, because we were running 2 sets of talent and everything like that. So it's a whole, band. It's a whole orchestra. And then, we're just getting all the instruments to play at the same time. That's the most important thing. But yeah, it was very cool to be there. I'm hoping that I get to go back there this year. We'll see. I got Braden Jr., little baby number 2, coming in late January. So we'll see after paternity leave if I can sneak back over to Arch Madness. But it's special. You go there for 1 minute, it's special. It's just a great event to be a part of, and it's a nice culmination of the year for us. And a lot of the people who were there on our crew on site were the same people that were doing the games remotely all season long. So it was fun for us to just pay off that investment in these storylines all year long and get to see that culminate in something at Arch Madness.
I love your passion for the Valley. It's like how I feel about the league. Also, but people don't know this, that's like a 19-hour day, right? I mean, like, you have all those games and the setup and the teardown, and it's not easy though, is it?
No, it's long days. The 4 game days are really hard, especially we have some shows that we run in between games on the first 2 days. So we're not just broadcasting live while the ball is on the court. We're filling things. We're doing a recap of the first game and then previewing our second game before we tip off. So it's a lot. Thankfully, the media tent is just down from us in the concourse underneath Arch Madness. So we sneak out and get some food when we can or whatnot. But yeah, by the end you're tired, but you get what you put into it, and we all put a lot into it, and it's as gratifying a feeling as anything. I was so proud of everything that we did at Arch Madness last year. I really felt like we had stepped it up, and it was a really gratifying feeling, one of my favorite moments of my career so far. And yeah, it was great. It was great.
And I think beyond the 28, and grab that number for you, Braden, on our crew in St. Louis. I think we have for 30 parking passes. Don't tell Jack, we got a couple extra. But beyond that, we've got a crew at KMOV that helped with the wraparound programming, with the between game and halftime fills. We had folks in Atlanta that were doing commercial insertion for us. We had folks in Indianapolis monitoring. So it really is a distributed operation with a ton of really good people stepping up. And that is not a time of year when that for me is the time of year when the thing I mentioned about Braden earlier is the most important. Because not only are we doing the Missouri Valley, but we've got other conferences that we produce championships for. We've got a ton of Champ Week coverage from ESPN that we're blessed to be assigned to. So that is a monster. And the reality is our folks are finishing in St. Louis, and then that's the start of the 10-day span. And so they're celebrating that, and then looking up and waking up the next morning, driving home and going, "Oh no, I got to do this again."
Or as I did last year, it's time for the MVC women's tournament. So
that's right. Yeah, the MVC tournament, the women's tournament's the next week. Who are some of those other conferences you end up serving, John, post the Valley tournament?
We're extremely lucky. We continue to work with the Horizon League. We do the Ohio Valley tournament traditionally, which is also in Evansville at the Ford Center, where the women's basketball tournament was last year for the Valley. We work with the Big South and the SoCon. We've done Sun Belt, and then we'll have various assignments from ESPN that depend on the year where they need us. But it was a sensational number. And I'm really not a numbers guy, but we did a ton of basketball in March. Then we also do Division II and Division III final sites for NCAA.com and for ESPN Plus there. So it really does become a month of just it's a lot of hoops.
Well,
but then you're off April to the rest of the year, right? I mean, obviously, I know you've got a million other things you guys are doing too.
I am.
What were you going to say, Braden? I cut you off.
I was going to say I also don't want John to glaze over too. Last year we helped out with the NIT, which was at Hinkle, and that was a big thing for us. A chance to showcase our city. We have quite a few Butler alums on our crew and stuff like that. So get to show off one of the best cathedrals in basketball in Hinkle. You're welcome, John. I'll take that $5 later for saying that.
It's a Valley podcast, and I'm very sorry, but my Bulldog's going to show here. It's not one of the best. It is.
So, but yeah, it's a monumental effort, Harry. It's a monumental effort, but it's fun. It's fun. And then we sleep for 5 minutes in April, and then turn around and it's time to do baseball tournaments and stuff like that. So.
It's a crazy life you guys live. I appreciate your time today. I wanted to have you both on and talk about what Great Media is doing, what Tupelo Honey is doing, and highlight this great league. Like, I love that you guys support the Missouri Valley Conference so strongly, so professionally, and so passionately. It's a league, obviously, that I love and care about, and appreciate your time today.
Always a pleasure, Harry.